Your 40s can look stable from the outside and still feel like one expensive machine you have to keep running. This is often the decade where success starts feeling expensive to maintain. You may have the house, the career, the family, the visible signs that life is working, and still feel financially tight. That is the contradiction of your 40s. Stability is no longer just a condition. It becomes a performance. Income may be higher than it has ever been, but optionality can be lower than it has ever been. Because by your 40s, you are often no longer funding a lifestyle. You are financing an infrastructure. The house is larger, the obligations are fixed, the standards are higher, the recovery room is smaller. The month gets expensive before you have even started living it. From the outside, this decade can look settled. From the inside, it can feel privately exposed. You can be asset-rich in your 40s and still feel cash poor in the moments that actually matter. Because wealth on paper does not always create calm. Liquidity does. And by your 40s, fixed cost gravity becomes harder to escape. Not because you are reckless, because the life is now built. This decade often rewards competence, with more things to carry. For many people, your 40s are the sandwich years. Children below, parents above, pressure from both directions. You are not just funding one future, you are often supporting two. That is why the 40s can feel less like growth and more like defense. You are no longer mainly building the life, you are protecting it from slipping. And once a lifestyle hardens, it becomes difficult to unwind without pain. That is lifestyle lock-in. You stay in the job, you stay in the suburb, you stay in the structure. Not always because you want to, because too much depends on it. And when room to fail disappears, ordinary shocks start feeling dangerous. That is the hidden paradox of your 40s. Peak income, peak stress. And above all of this, time becomes louder. Retirement is no longer abstract. It becomes math you can no longer ignore. That is when another pressure arrives, the fear that you are earning well and still behind. Because your 40s are often the decade where you compare the life you thought you would have with the life you now have to keep funding. And that is the emotional truth of this decade. Not obvious failure, expensive competence. So the solution is not to perform stability harder. It is to reclaim optionality. Reduce what only performs success. Keep what actually creates safety. Prioritize liquidity over appearance, because calm comes faster from margin than from image. Real stability in your 40s does not feel impressive. It feels lighter. It feels like room to move again. Your 40s are often where stability becomes performance. The next step is learning how to make it real. That is next.